offense, just defend and rebound and take care of the ball. And a big-time offensive rebounds that allowed us to get, an and one and then get 2 free throws to ice it down the stretch. And so to be able to push through in a game where we trailed and forward in the second half, I think is obviously great for us and will help prepare us for SEC play.
It's 73 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey! This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL. Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
We do not subscribe to the theory next man up in our realm of sports talk radio. When Taylor Dahl is down, we do not fill her spot. We just miss her and hope that her voice comes back and she feels better by Friday when we're live in Las Vegas.
Maybe we'll just tap into RJ Saunders a little more because we are going to start on the hardwood on this fine Wednesday, Lauren. Before we go any further, though, this is a very special Wednesday on Helmets and Heels because our good friends at Cookies and Cream Jack's Beach dropped off. Round of applause, RJ. The goods. We got a stuffed Oreo. We got campfire. We got funfetti white chip. For those of you who may be unfamiliar, Cookies and Cream, in my opinion, Lauren, may be the best locally owned business in Jacksonville. I say that with all due respect to everybody else who I love all my locally owned businesses. I love all of our clients and sponsors and everyone who works at 1010 and beyond. But what they've built is something I don't think you can find anywhere else in the country.
And I'm lucky because it's right down the street from me. And
it's no longer down the street from me, and I'm very sad I don't get to see Ray and Jen, the homemade. You pick your own homemade cookies, you pick your own homemade ice cream, you pick the topping, you put together an ice cream sandwich unlike anything else in the world.
Yes, you can find them on Instagram, Jack's Beach CNC, or online, cookiesandcreamjacksbeach.com, and cream is spelled CREME. So, yes, certainly thank you to Ray. Got to meet him today, and appreciate Jen for putting those cookies together for us.
Former pseudo-pro golfer, by the way, if you didn't know that about
I did not
Ray.
know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, indeed. And,
okay.
Always supporting the Ospreys. Swoop, swoop.
Yeah, and veteran-owned as well, so also appreciate the service there. All right, so we are going to talk about men's basketball. We'll also get to Doug's comments today on the injury update as far as the Jaguars are concerned. But let's start with Florida taking on North Carolina in a very hostile environment for the Gators because, of course, the game was in Charlotte for the Jumpman Invitational. And I'll tell you the prism with which I was watching, Mia. So once a month, all of my girlfriends get together. We've been doing this for like over a decade now. And normally it's on Mondays. But we had to reschedule it this month to last night, a Tuesday. So I prepared them in advance that I will be locked into this basketball game. The ladies' night starts at 7, and the game obviously started at 7. So I told them for the first 2 hours of our time together, I will be watching the Florida men's basketball team. And I did, and thankfully they're super supportive, and so they jumped alongside and started watching as well. They got locked into it. Most of them were just kind of casually watching and saying like, oh, Florida's up by a lot. That was, of course, in the first half. And then they'd look over and go, uh-oh. And so eventually everyone, like I said, really got locked into the end of the game. And with about 4 minutes left, I thought, well, Florida played hard. And certainly Elijah Martin, it's just not his night, right, from 3. But you know what? This is going to be a good learning experience. And then by about 2 minutes left to go, I thought, holy cow, Todd Golden's team is going to do something that it feels in the moment is so difficult to do. And that is, and I understand the game's not at North Carolina, but it's in North Carolina. And certainly the Tar Heels outnumbered the Gators there. And they found a way, thanks to something that has defined their season all year so far, now at 11-0, and that is rebounding. They are so good at rebounding. And so thanks to Will Richards, certainly late stretch, that not just rebounding, but also putting the shot in. And Florida went on to win, and they're undefeated 11-0 for the first time since 05-06.
They closed on a 22-12 run. What happened the last time in 05-06? What also happened that season, Lauren, on the basketball front?
That was a national championship.
Okay, just want to make sure we filed
but that was
one
Billy Donovan and guys that would go on to play, a lot of guys that would go on to play in the NBA. This is a little different. Certainly Todd Golden
college
is much
basketball
newer.
Is different.
But college basketball is insanely different. You're right about that.
And Billy Donovan had, not as much success early on as Todd Golden has had now in year 3, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to suggest that success could come early.
Well, early on, Billy Donovan took his team to the national championship, but lost against Michigan State. So, yeah, certainly there's some parallels there, but like you said, the way roster construction is completely different now at the transfer portal. It's fascinating to see a team play this well together so early on because they haven't been together. That some of these guys haven't been together that
and
long.
I think that's I want to dispel this narrative of Florida brought back everybody. They brought back a lot, Lauren, but they didn't bring back their entire starting five. It's not like this is the same exact outfit that went to the SEC tournament title game last season. I think that needs to be dispelled. There are new pieces here. Elijah Martin, for those of you who are just getting into the basketball season, standout transfer from FAU, went to a Final Four once upon a time with the crew down there in Boca. And so I think you add him, Micah Hanlogden not playing this season, which I know you and I are both following this story. We're like, yes.
He's jumping up and down on the sidelines. Why can't he play?
He's jumping up and the injury he suffered in the aforementioned SEC tournament title game was gruesome. It was ugly from multiple people, including one Jaguars linebacker, Foye Oluokun, who was at the barn that night, saw that game and that tournament title game. He said you could hear a pin drop when Micah Hanlogden went down. So he's back, but he's not really back. And so, again, I want to dispel this narrative of, well, they have all the pieces back, and that's why they're doing what they're doing, because that's not the case. They have the foundation. The foundation is Walter Clayton and Will Richard. I'm going to keep saying that. Will Richard in the backcourt. I don't know why I want to try to make it harder than it is. Will Richard and Walter Clayton in the backcourt.
I think it's because Chris Richard is probably in your head because of Jaguars stuff.
This is what happens in crossover season. That's the foundation of this team. They are alphas. I think Will Richard showed in the second half last night that this is not, as much as Walter Clayton is probably going to be the All-American selection, is going to be an SEC first team selection when all is said and done. Last night was not his night, and Will Richard can take over a game too. The biggest stat for me, Lauren, and it's shocking to see, the final margin in the offensive rebounding department was 16-13. It did not feel like that in the final 7 minutes of this game. Let me take you back.
By the way, also, Ruben Chinyelu was not on the team last year, and he now starts.
Exactly. Correct. So, again, multiple starters are new this season. With 7:34 left in the game last night, Florida committed its 17th turnover. Also, not very typical of a Todd Golden team over the last 3 years. On the next possession, UNC goes up 72-68. That first bucket by R.J. Davis, and then the three-point play opportunity. I believe that was for either Seth Trimble or Jalen Washington. For the rest of the game, from that point forth, when it was 72-68, with 7 minutes plus left, they never turned the ball over again. They out-rebounded North Carolina 14-5. And then, here it is, 7-0 boards to 0 offensive rebounds for North Carolina.
North Carolina is too small to be.
What did I sit here and tell you yesterday?
Right. Yeah, they're too small to be an elite postseason type of men's basketball team, and that's something where I don't even want to bring up Mike White because that'll fire people up, obviously.
Hey, listen, we love to hear from you Gator fans on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure, 641-1010.
Yeah, I don't even want to go there, but certainly one common denominator of Mike White teams, besides the fact that they had the serious droughts in offensive production at times, but it was also the fact that they only usually had like one big guy. They were always too small. And so when they got into those physical types of games, and you can honestly liken it to the Jaguars at times too, they don't win the physical types of games. And so under Todd Golden, I knew, like I said yesterday, I knew they'd be a good offensive team as far as shooting from three because that is a staple of Todd Golden's offense. I just didn't realize how good he would have them at so many other things, including the rebounding, including the defensive efficiency. And Thomas Houck is one of my favorite all-time players.
He's taken a massive step forward, and that was going to be critical if Florida was to navigate not only a non-conference schedule that, as we've documented on this program, has been the trigger of a lot of national analysts of, are they really that good, though? Well, I don't know.
Virginia and North Carolina. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Those are two marquee name programs, even if they are not your grandmother's Virginia or even the North Carolina team we thought that we would see coming into this season. I think with North Carolina, ultimately, where they're going to land is if R.J. Davis isn't able to put the ball in the basket, good luck. I noted to you yesterday, Elliot Cadeau started the season off on fire. He has since cooled off. Seth Trimble's been a nice certainly rotational piece, a member of that starting five for North Carolina. Jalen Washington, quite frankly, is playing out of position. He shouldn't be playing the five, but he has to because they don't have that size. RJ Davis entered yesterday's game averaging about 16 points per game, Lauren. He dropped 29. This game is not nearly this close if the All-American and National Player of the Year contender doesn't do what he does. And look, he's always going to get his. And I think that's what speaks to the depth with Florida, who, by the way, only went 8 deep last night. I think this idea of you can stop RJ Davis while still being effective not only defensively, but also getting back quickly in transition on the offensive end of the floor. I think that's what's most impressive. It's not like having the scouting report of a National Player of the Year contender bogged down Florida. It did not at all. And I understand Walter Clayton's numbers, only 12 points, was 1 of 7 from three-point land, 4 of 15 from the floor. I understand that that's disappointing, and you expect to not see that every night. But at the same time, the fact that there are other pieces, Thomas Howe, Alex Condon's development has certainly been well documented here on the Superstation in his second season under Todd Golden. And those pieces are going to be just as important as Clayton when all is said and done. In contrast, if UNC doesn't have that lead point guard, it all goes to heck in a handbasket real quick.
Yeah, I liked Ian Jackson last night, the freshman, and he was certainly a huge part of their comeback there at the beginning of the second half. And I do think he could get a starting role over maybe a guy like Elliot Cadeau, who we talked about it yesterday, just isn't great from three. And that's a liability, especially when you're going up against a team that can be dominant in pretty much every aspect of offensive categories in basketball. And like you said, Clayton didn't have his best night, but that's the beautiful part. He doesn't have to. And so having those 3 guards is just an important part for Todd Golden.
And if you want to go bigger with your lineup, I mean, Will Richard is a bigger guard to
Olivier
begin with.
Rue, where are you?
God,
No, that's all, by the way, that's all that non-basketball fans know about Florida,
my God.
I feel like, is the 7'9" guy.
They have the tallest teenager in the world. That's all anyone wanted to talk about.
My friends last night, is he going to play? Like, no.
That's all they know.
Take you behind the curtain. No, he's not going to play this season.
He's redshirting. Like,
Todd Golden already said that, and he probably doesn't have the basketball IQ that he needs to have. And also, when you're 7'9", it's kind of hard to be agile and, learn everything you need to that quickly. So just relax. But he'll play next year, and Micah Hanlogton and Olivier Rue on the court at the same time would be insane.
And Alex Condon.
Right.
Have fun with that one. That's going to be a Death Star lineup that Todd Golden will be able to employ next year, so long as all those players are back, which at this rate, I would expect them all to be back because the Gators are humming. We did say, Lauren.
Mike White.
I don't know if that's what spurred the text line design by Lifetime Enclosures, but your fellow Gators have come out of the woodwork. They want to talk basketball on this fine Wednesday. 910 says that this team reminds him of the Patrick Young 2014 team that went all the way to the Final Four. I'm curious your thoughts on that. I can
understand that. Yeah, that was a team that, so when we talk about the 04s, that first class that won the national championship at Florida and obviously won back-to-back, that class was loaded, like I said, with NBA talent. The 2014 team
was a surprise Final Four run.
Absolutely, and went undefeated in the SEC, which I don't know if we'll ever see that again, especially with the way the SEC has improved over the last 10 years. But that team certainly had a lot of talent, but they didn't have nearly the same talent as the 04s. But they did something that this team does do really well, and that is play scrappy. Mm-hmm. They would fight for every loose ball. There was never a moment where you were going to question their intensity, their effort, their energy, and that's what this team certainly has a lot of.
And it speaks to coaching.
It certainly does.
It speaks to coaching. 903 is already...
But yeah, by the way, Corey Brewer was on that team. And
obviously went to the NBA. So it's okay. It wasn't like there was no NBA talent there. I do think Walter Clayton Jr. is going to find himself at the next level just because there's always a need for great ball handling point guards who can also shoot the basket. 903 is already trying to dissect the Gators for us where the weakness may be. The weakness is when North Carolina started pressuring the ball, lack of being able to dribble past the pressure was obvious. A team who pressures full court press is going to give the Gators major fits, especially if they have depth. That's any basketball team. Yeah. Full court press is obviously one of the more difficult defensive coverages to get past. And on the women's side, what you're seeing right now in Tennessee, which we didn't even get to touch on them yesterday when we briefly went to the women's basketball front, Lauren, they have a new head coach in Kim Caldwell, who, by the way, we mentioned this on my podcast earlier this week. She is 8 months pregnant. She's going to pop basically any day once the calendar flips to January. But she came from West Virginia. She's the first head coach of Tennessee to not have a connection to Pat Summitt since Summitt retired as the legendary head coach of the Vols. And she employs a full court aggressive defense, and that's why they have to go basically hockey shifts. Don't let that trigger you, Jaguar fans. We're going to get to you in just a second. They bring 5 new players onto the floor. It's very rare to find teams that are able to do that have that sort of conditioning and or that depth at both the women's and the men's level. And so, look, could Florida run into a buzzsaw like that? Absolutely. But I agree. That's probably something, Todd Golden, in terms of the trapping in the corner and how do you break the press. That's something every basketball team works on. It's 101, but that may be the one weakness, I suppose. But I do think Florida has depth.
Yeah, they didn't, you said, didn't display it last night by playing only 8. But yeah, I love to go down memory lane. Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, Al Horford. Did they do anything in the NBA?
Al's still playing.
Correct. That's what's crazy.
It's been how many years?
Right.
Yeah, yikes.
And the 2014 team, of course, our friend Big Pat Young, Scotty Wilbekin, Will You Get, Casey Prather, Casey Hill, Michael Frazier. Those guys, Dorian Finney-Smith probably had the longest career in the NBA. But again, that's why I like to compare them, because the 2014 got close to a national championship, but that dang UConn team, I still get upset because I vividly remember we went out to dinner for my dad's birthday. This was the 2014 season. And Florida played UConn in the regular season on his birthday and lost. And then, of course, Florida in the Final Four plays the same UConn team, was hoping for revenge, didn't quite get it. But yeah, it's going to be fun to watch how this team evolves, and especially when you talk about the SEC. We get Florida UNF Saturday. It'll be Saturday noon Eastern, 9 a.m. where we'll be in Vegas. But that's going to be a fun game to watch, just because obviously the Ospreys play a different brand of basketball than really anyone that Florida's faced to this point in the season. So it's going to be a fun basketball season.
Yeah, tough loss for UNF last night to UNC Asheville. Hopefully they'll bounce back as they finish up their non-conference portion of their season. For Florida, it's North Florida, then Stetson, back-to-back ASUN opponents before they begin SEC play. The calendar is circled. At Kentucky, home against Tennessee, at Arkansas. Yeah. It is a murderer's row to begin the season for Florida, and that's why an 11-0 start in non-conference play was so important.
Also on Saturday, JU takes on UCF. That one down in Orlando. That one's at 6 p.m. Eastern, so be sure to lock into that as well. All right, we will get to the Jaguars when we return. Also, Mia's going to try and make you some money. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Let's go, defense!
A good-looking defense does more than protect your zone. It can enhance your home.
Hey, this is our house! This is our house!
After the game, catch the superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Garber Auto Mall is home of a lifetime warranty. Every new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Ford comes with a lifetime warranty. At Garber Auto Mall, your purchase is covered for life. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
The Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that has your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we have you covered too. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That'll double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus straight from the jump. Step 2, be sure to check out all of the risk-free odds boosts, including a free odds boost each and every Thursday. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Maybe you want to get in on some of the action for the upcoming college football playoff. Indiana, a 7-point underdog, despite staying in their home state to face Notre Dame. I really like Tennessee, a 7.5-point underdog against Ohio State. I am taking that hook all day long. Be sure to use promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, and from anywhere with MyBookie.
We've spent a lot of time in our homes.
I'm on a Zoom call.
Dinner's ready.
But we've learned that when we love our home, it loves us right back. Now you can keep that love going when you install energy-efficient natural gas appliances and earn up to $1,925 in cash rebates. You'll love endless hot water, faster drying and cooking times, and ongoing savings and comfort. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Frank Frangie here for Karis Wealth Planning. If you're looking for a company to truly help you make your money work for you, why not try a group who's been doing it successfully for almost a quarter of a century? Karis will truly bring together all the pieces of your financial world and develop a comprehensive plan to really help you secure your future. So call Karis today at 904-598-3585 or log on to Karis, that's KERAS.nm.com. Make your money work for you with Karis Wealth Planning.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This Christmas, St. Nicholas Guns and Range is packing the gift of savings. 20% off white tag items, 10% off other in-stock firearms, and 10% off range memberships. Plus, don't miss out on our custom holsters. From premium firearms to exclusive range access, our friendly staff has everything for the shooter in your life or for yourself. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Visit stnickguns.com or stop by today. That's stnickguns.com, where Christmas savings hits the bullseye.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we won, we got to bring my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com. Now, it's time to showcase the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally.
Cam Little was gigantic for the Teal and Black on Sunday. The rookie kicker went a perfect 4 for 4 on his field goal attempts and was without blemish on his extra point tries. The former Arkansas Razorback has been razor sharp this season and is your Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large Oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. It's never fun to have a septic issue on Christmas Day. So go ahead and call Duck Duck Rooter and have your septic tank pumped out today.
904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Taylor Dahl needs one more day off before she'll be with us live in Vegas. Doug Peterson met with media this morning, Mia, and there were some interesting injury updates that he gave us.
Yes. The good news, I guess the good news is that Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram, we already knew they were done for the season, but they both did have successful surgery earlier this week. That's obviously very encouraging. I learned more about human anatomy, that there is only one AC in your body. It's your AC joint. I was like, can I just confirm if that AC joint? And Doug was like, no, that's the only one in your body. So
there are two labrums.
Yes.
hip and shoulder, but only one AC.
I just didn't see Brenton Strange favoring his shoulder at all. That's why I thought it may have been, I don't know. I didn't know if there was an AC in your knee.
He did get up one time in the game. It was in the second half, and I thought, I wonder if he's a little banged up. He didn't ever go into the medical tent, but he took some, I say he took some hard hits. He delivered also some big hits as well. So it didn't surprise me that he was a little bit banged up.
Yeah, so he will not practice today, but Doug Peterson said his expectation is that the second-year tight end will be available on Sunday in Las Vegas, although once upon a time we thought that Evan Ingram would be able to return after missing 2 days of practice, and instead he had surgery to repair a torn labrum days later.
Yes, the one thing that still upsets me and infuriates me is the fact that Trevor didn't clear concussion protocol until this past Sunday. So that's multiple weeks that Azeez Al-Shaair took away from Trevor to live a normal daily life because he was in concussion protocol. Now, granted, we saw him on Sunday, obviously, at the game, walking around on the sidelines, and he seemed perfectly fine. But still, multiple weeks that Azeez Al-Shaair, because of his dirty, cheap shot to Trevor Lawrence's head, knocked him into concussion protocol. And I just hate that for him that he then had to delay surgery because he was still in the protocol.
Yeah, and worse yet, Lauren, and we haven't even talked about this through 3 days of this work week, the Texans sent another defenseless player to the hospital.
Yeah, Grant DuBose
of Miami,
whose face mask had to be unscrewed and his jersey had to be cut for him to get on the stretcher before going to the hospital. And then he had to stay back in the hospital.
And that one wasn't necessarily, at least from replay, it wasn't a case of where Al-Shaair literally raises his forearm as he's already sliding into the player. That was more of a bang-bang play. I saw plenty of you Jaguar fans out there in Duval County driving around right now commenting on Kamari Lassiter, the former Georgia defensive back, had the same reaction to both plays and that he was a little panicked by what he saw. And ultimately, perhaps, darn good dog, I suppose, who is looking out for everybody involved. Because now, once maybe you can play it off as an anomaly twice. And again, I understand this play was not as egregious as the one we saw by Azeez Al-Shaair. It was Kalen Bullock, by the way, the rookie safety out of USC, who committed the crime this time. At some point in time, the physicality that DeMeco Ryans' defense and what is allowed and tolerated in that building in Houston is going to come into question. I sense it. I don't know if you do.
I mean, the hit, especially if you watch the reaction that it got, the most recent one, in addition to the Al-Shaair one, yes, I think there's going to be another incident, put it that way. And maybe if it's in the playoffs, then more people will take aim at DeMeco versus just taking aim at the players. All right, so we did mention that both Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram had surgery earlier this week. Evan's on Monday, Trevor's yesterday. Doug was asked this morning if they will be ready for OTAs.
Don't know that yet. It's hard to put a time frame on it. You don't want to rush it, but we'll see how they, I guess the thing is too, in both cases, they're not long-term, lengthy type surgeries, recovery time. So at some point this spring, they'll be ready to go.
Who will be coaching them? Who will be running the operation? That part remains to be seen. But the good news is, yes, and Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reported it as well. The expectation is that Trevor Lawrence will have the entire offseason program to work out, be healthy. But as I remarked, it's quite the Christmas laid up on the couch. But hey, it is what it is, and it's kind of just even more of a damper on a disappointing season in Duval. Say that 5 times fast.
And I think a lot of people, Mia, will say, well, they get paid so much money to play this game, I don't feel bad for them. I understand that is true. That is a true sentiment. But they are still mid-20s, some of them, right? Like Trevor, obviously, is mid-20s. Trevor Lawrence is a guy that is a great human being, and I can still get mad over the fact that, yes, it's a violent game, but this particular hit that he took was not something that should ever happen again.
Right, but ultimately, yes, the concussion protocol and not passing through it until Sunday is concerning to me, but
second year in a row with a concussion?
Right, yeah, no, that's concerning, don't get me wrong, but at some point in time, this surgery was probably going to happen.
Rappaport tweeted out December 4th.
Right.
When then Doug refuted that, but that's as early as it
before the season
first reported.
Ended. I mean, once this team was mathematically eliminated from the postseason, let's imagine that the Azeez Al-Shaair the collision didn't happen, right? Let's say that didn't happen. Even if that didn't happen, if you're playing with still 5 games to go and nothing to play for, don't you want to get ahead of the curve and start preparations for next year? If you are the decision makers at the Miller Electric Center.
Well, and that's why I wouldn't have had Trevor Lawrence playing against the Texans in the first place, because he had a shoulder injury going into that game. And I know a lot of people say, well, I want to see more of Trevor because I've been disappointed by everything I've seen to this point. I get that. I wouldn't have played him. I would have sat him at least one more week. But if he needed surgery, then I wouldn't have played him at all the rest of the season. Because again, the season is over. It's been over pretty much since October, as a matter of fact. All right, you want to talk some college football?
Yeah, let's do a little college football.
We'll get it to Notre Dame as Paul Grasmanis joins us on the other side. So sad Taylor can't be here to interview him because he both played at Notre Dame and played for the Bears. But certainly we'll chat with him on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
Nia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, folks, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Wow. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates you won't find anywhere else, and move in today. I'll say it again, 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Best Bet is number one. That's right, Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. The Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Milkshake is a holiday tradition that's back for another season. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, this festive peppermint-flavored milkshake is made with Chick-fil-A ice cream dessert and features chips of crunchy peppermint bark. It's minty, merry, and topped with whipped cream and cherry when served in stores. Order in the Chick-fil-A app now or at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
My Gate Rewards members, now through January 2nd, you'll get an entry for your chance to win free gas for a year each time you buy 5 eligible Monster Club products. Not a rewards member? Download the Gate app today. See store for details.
Helmets and Heels.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Brian Thomas Jr. took the Jets to school Sunday in Duval. The teal and black wideout recorded 105 yards on 10 receptions and tallied 2 touchdowns on what was a special day. Number 7 isn't lucky. He's just that damn good. Brian Thomas Jr. is your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
This holiday season, Universal Roof and Contracting is making it easy to check roof repairs off your list. Get 15% off roof repairs or replacement, plus a $250 gift card to brighten your holiday shopping. Get flexible financing with payments as low as $150 a month and free roof inspections. Secure your home and your savings today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
December 18th, 2017. The Los Angeles Lakers retired both jersey numbers of the late, great Kobe Bryant.
Holidays are here, and if you're in need of extra cash, Beaches Jewelry and Pawn can help. Gold is at record highs. It's a great time to sell. Bring in your gold for an estimate today. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score buy one, get one free world-famous pancake combos from IHOP, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on pizza, burgers, tacos, and more all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators. And by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson with an injury update this morning ahead of Sunday's matchup in Las Vegas against the Raiders.
Actually, we're in a pretty good spot. Brenton, AC, sprain coming out of the game, just be a little bit limited. He'll be fine. Walker's ankle's fine. You know, just the wear and tear on Brandon will limit him like we normally do. Mitch Morse, the same thing. Just where we are in the season and just monitor their reps during the week. But all are good for the game.
Doug Peterson this morning with the latest on injuries, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jaguars at the Las Vegas Raiders. Kickoff Sunday at 4:25. With your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update, I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels. Mia O'Brien is here. RJ Saunders as well. I'm Lauren Brooks, and we welcome in our first guest of the day, Paul Grosmanis. Of course, played at Notre Dame and for the Chicago Bears. Paul, I have to tell you, our other co-host who is sick today, unfortunately, is a diehard Notre Dame fan and a diehard Bears fan. So I just had to send that her thoughts that she loves you.
So she's obviously an awesome person.
Exactly. She is an awesome person, and I wish, like I said, she wasn't sick so she could chat with you as well. But let's get it to first the 12-team playoff. Did they get it right? Did the committee get it right?
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at 12 teams getting in, I mean, I think they got it right. You know, there's so many good teams out there. Do I think there's SEC bias? Yeah, I think there's some SEC bias, but for the most part, I think they got it right.
Former Notre Dame defensive tackle Paul Grosmanis joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Paul also played for 10 years in the National Football League, and one of his buddies in the National Football League was the Mangler. We're going to fit in some Mangler questions as well, Paul. I hope you will humor us. He sent me a 3-minute voicemail on Monday with all sorts of not only talking points, but things that we need to go down memory lane with you with. But let's focus on the task at hand.
It's all lies. Anything coming from the mouth of a Penn Stater is all lies.
There we go. Ain't that the truth? Because Lord knows James Franklin and his fraudulent wins, hey, fly the banner forever. They're in the 12-team playoff, and that's probably about as good as they're going to get.
Look out for SMU. That's all I got to say.
Amen, brother, man. Hey, let's stick on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Hoosiers. It's currently a 7-point spread between these two sides. From the Notre Dame perspective, what do you make of Marcus Freeman this season and where he can go with this team?
I mean, the sky is the limit for Marcus. He is obviously, Marcus is doing all the right things there. He knows how to recruit. He's getting the kids in there. He's likable. He's a great coach. Even when you watch him this year, you see the growth that he's had this year. His first couple of years, I would even say the first maybe 1 or 2 games of this year, you see the nice Marcus, the smiley-faced Marcus, and I think it took the slap in the face by Northern Illinois, that the loss that we took early in the season, where after that you saw a lot of passion coming from Marcus, and he coached with a lot of passion the rest of the year. Getting after the players, which is something that you never really saw him do before. And, to see him do that and to see the players respond that way, and the depth that he's been able to build through recruiting. I mean, we've had numerous freshmen playing this year, and, and not just playing, but playing well. So I love the depth that's coming back. Look out for the Fighting Irish. We're not a team to be taken lightly.
Paul, as far as the run game, obviously that's a strength for Notre Dame, and the Fighting Irish would love to be able to ground and pound against Indiana, but certainly we've seen teams like Michigan not be able to do that. How do you think Jeremiah Love and those guys will do?
Jeremiah Love, it's funny when, he's so, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not talked about enough. He's definitely flying under the radar. I mean, Jeremiah Love is a stud, and he's got to be the top running back in the nation next year. The kid is just a sophomore. He's got awesome, vision and ability on the field, his athleticism. The kid is a true stud. And, I went to a Notre Dame game a few weeks back, and I ran into a scout there, and I asked the scout, I said, it was more of a in conversation. I said, you got to be here to see Jeremiah Love. He says, there's nobody else here I'm here to see. It is Jeremiah. He's that good of a player. And, like I said, he goes under the radar, and hopefully Indiana, overlooks them as well. And hopefully our offensive line gets after them, and our running backs can, we have Jadarian Price as well, and he's had an awesome season. I mean, we got two running backs that are complement each other very well, and Riley Leonard, the quarterback, who can also run the ball.
Paul, that's a great segue regarding your conversation with that NFL scout, because I was going to ask you one more on a specific player on this Notre Dame roster, someone who Taylor Dahl has been very high on throughout the course of the season, and not just because he leads Notre Dame in interceptions with 5. What do you make of Xavier Watts?
Xavier, another one, should have got Defensive Player of the Year. He got it a year ago. And coming over from a receiver, right? His first couple of years at Notre Dame, he was a receiver, makes the transition to safety, and now he's first team All-American. Another true stud, and a long list of safeties that Notre Dame has put into the NFL. We have the kid Hamilton over there in Baltimore, who was a first-round pick, just 2 or 3 years ago. We've got Harrison Smith over there with the Vikings, who's been doing it now for, seems like 20 years. But, yeah, Notre Dame has done a great job of putting some safeties out, and I know we got some young freshmen, again, coming in the recruiting class. There's some good depth there, and it's a fun position to watch on the Notre Dame squad.
Going up against Curtis Work and everything that Curt Cignetti has done with this Indiana Hoosiers team, do you think Notre Dame's secondary will be strong enough to basically prevent Indiana from doing what they want in the passing attack?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think Notre Dame has probably one of the better secondaries in the country. We've had a couple of injuries to the cornerback position and whatnot. But I still think, we've got not only one of the better secondaries, but one of the best defenses. And, they've really helped us in a lot of situations. And, I think we got exposed a little bit against Southern Cal, but exposed in a good way. A good learning lesson, a good slap in the face before going into playoffs. I don't think anybody expected USC, to put up 40 points against us, but they did it. Thankfully, we scored more points than them. But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to respond really well. I think Al Golden does he's one of the best defensive coordinators out there. He'll put a great game plan together, and I think you're going to see us get after them pretty good. And I know the point spread is 7.5 or my prediction is at least 14. We're definitely winning by double digits.
Wow. All right. That also leads perfectly into, as we have a couple more for Paul Grassmanis, former defensive lineman for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the Garber Automall hotline. Paul.
And the Bears.
And the Bears. And the Bears. We'll ask about the Bears and Greg Huntington, the Mangler, who you played with the Bears here momentarily, Paul. But I am curious, what is the vibe right now around Notre Dame when it comes to Curt Cignetti? And even as a college football fan, what's your perspective on a coach moving to the Power 4 level this late in his tenure, becoming a head coach at the Power 4 level for the first time in his career, starting off undefeated, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, it keeps going and keeps growing, and his response to reporters was, Google me, all I do is win.
Yeah, that's just, what else do you have to say, right? Google him. I think he's done a heck of a job, and he's right. You do Google him, and you see he's had success everywhere he's gone, and he's doing it again here. They've definitely opened up their wallet there. They've definitely dipped into the money, and they've paid a lot of players to come there. And it's paying off for him. The guy is a proven coach, and now he's got some players there that he can do some things with, and they're not to be taken lightly for sure. You don't go 10-1 or 11-1 in the Big Ten. Walking through the park, and a lot of tough teams there, and the fact that they were able to do it, kudos to them. They're not going to go overlooked, and they shouldn't be.
Okay, so I'm being told, you have any more on the college football front, Lauren, or are we segueing to the NFL? Here we go. All right, Paul, we're coming at you hot and heavy. We'll probably end up asking about Caleb Williams, the Bears job, the Jaguars. We'll probably circumvent our way back to that, but I have to ask you about the throat punch and your relationship with Greg Huntington when it comes to the throat punch.
Yeah, so, how we began this, never believe anything coming out of the mouth of anybody from Penn State. That's just rule number one. So throat punch, I have no idea what Greg's talking about. Penn State, Coach Holtz would always say, Joe Paterno, it's all lies. But, Greg was an awesome, tough player. And, and I'm not just saying that because he's a dear friend of mine and a guy that stood up in my wedding and whatnot. Greg taught me a lot of life lessons on and off the field. And he's just one of them individuals that I'm very thankful for, that God put in my path at the right time in the right place. And, I'm thankful to call him friend here 20-plus years later.
So would you rather be the Chicago Bears in the situation they're in, or assuming that Shad Khan makes changes here in Jacksonville, would you rather be the Jaguars as far as the head coach of either organization?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I would take Jacksonville. I'm not a big believer in Caleb Williams. And I don't know if that comes from him being a Southern Cal kid and me being a Notre Dame guy. But me personally, I can't. How can a guy who pouts and sulks whether it was at Oklahoma, whether it was at Southern Cal, and now in Chicago, and then painting the fingernails, you cannot lead men doing all that stuff. And I'm just gonna leave that out there. I don't have it. You want to paint your nails and stuff, go right ahead, but don't expect to be a leader of men doing weird stuff like that.
Paul, let's pivot away from the Bears because you also spent 5 years with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about that team and perhaps in the prism of comparing it to what Howie Roseman has been able to build in the city of brotherly love as opposed to in Chicago, where they are set to be on their third coach in the last 5 years. I believe I'm correct in saying that, Paul. Something along those lines. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, who also find themselves in the same situation. From your experience in Philly, how have they built it?
Yeah, I've loved, obviously I'm very dear to Philadelphia, and it was 6 years. I got I don't want to lose that extra year there. I got 6 years in Philadelphia. But, being under Coach Reed and Joe Banner was our GM at that time, and Howie Roseman was there as well. Coach Reed just knew how to build a team. He's proven it. He's done it again in Kansas City. I put a lot of that on the head coach and the people that he surrounded himself with. How he built that team. He got rid of the people who didn't want to be there, brought in a lot of people who just loved the game of football, wanted to be around the game of football, good character people. And obviously, when it comes time to recruiting, I'm a big believer in you build it in the trenches. And I know Andy did that in Philadelphia, and he did that again in Kansas City. You bring in a couple of good offensive tackles, you bring in a couple of good defensive tackles. Then you can get your quarterback and whatnot. You can't have that good quarterback without an offensive line in front of him. He's just going to get tore up. And I do. And you hear me talking about Coach Reed, but Coach Reed, I speak of Coach Reed because he's been very dear to me and my family. And, I still call him friend today. I can, pick up the phone and talk to him periodically. And, I can't say that about too many head coaches where, you have that kind of relationship. And, even to this day, being 50 years old, I'd go run through a wall for a guy like Andy. And, but he brings that out of his players. And so no matter where you're at, I look at a guy who's out there right now who's available, Mike Vrabel. You listen to one of Mike Vrabel's speeches, and because he could be the next head coach of the Bears. I know there's the rumors circulating around and whatnot, and I mean, Mike Vrabel's players would run through a wall for him. You got to have, look up in Detroit, Dan Campbell, same thing. I love coaches like that where the players want to give it their all for their coach.
Totally agree. And I think around here, there's been certainly a lot of discussion about Doug Peterson as the head coach and whether or not there's enough emotion at certain times. But Paul, we really appreciate you joining us today, and stay warm, I suppose, in that mid-20s on, I guess, Friday night.
Yeah, I'm going up there with my daughter, and we've done our shopping and whatnot. We're going to make sure we stay nice and warm for that game, and go Irish.
Yeah, I've been to that stadium when it was mid-20s, back when Notre Dame lost to BC. Notre Dame was undefeated at the time, but lost to BC. It was mid-20s, but it was only October, and I was freezing as a Florida girl.
Yeah, that was my sophomore year. Thanks for the bad memory.
So sorry. All right, Paul, we appreciate it. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you so much.
All right, there he goes. Yeah, it was so cold, Mia. That's all I have to say. It was God. Cold.
I actually, when I visited as a high school student, I visited a bunch of schools in the Chicago area. It was March, and my mom asked me if I wanted to go to Notre Dame to visit it because it's obviously a short drive away from the Chicagoland area. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll get there at some point. I don't want to go there for school. And now it's hilarious in hindsight as a sports fan. I'm like, well, you really butchered that one, Mo Bryan. Your one chance to see South Bend. Hopefully I'll get there at some point in time. But to that point, Lauren, we purposely went during spring break in March because my mom said, it'll still be cold in Chicago. This will be great. She'll see how awful the winters are in the Midwest. She won't want to move there. 77 degrees went in Lake Michigan.
Oh.
So that's probably why I ended up there. Maybe not for college, but shortly thereafter.
Interesting. I went to Boston one time also in March. It was like 6 degrees. So I suppose it just depends. All right. So we appreciate Paul Grosmanis joining us. And certainly that game Friday night, it's so fun that, especially for Irish and for Hoosiers fans, it's the only game. That's it for college football on Friday. So they get that standalone window, and it's going to be an exciting one.
And I would like to shout out because it's been a running bit in my house, Lauren. And Dog fans, Georgia fans, this is where I invite you to echo these sentiments, either on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures or the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line. That 8 overtime victory over Georgia Tech The play-by-play was Joe Tessitore. The color commentator was Jesse Palmer. Katie George was on the sideline. And as we're watching this game well into the next morning, because it went past midnight, Kevin is looking at me and he's like, Katie George looks like she's frozen. Like, she's like, like gripping the microphone, looks very chilly, rightfully so.
I had a friend there. She said it was beyond chilly.
Right, exactly. Guess where Katie George has to call a game on Friday? South Bend, Indiana. So we're thinking of you, Katie.
Buckle up. Yeah, 3 of those 4 games, like we said, going to be very, very cold. All right, Mia's My Bookie picks are next. And also, by the way, if you are going to the Heels Huddle Up on Friday, if you're going to Vegas and you're going to come hang out with us at the Overhang Bar on Friday, you do have to RSVP, so make sure you go online and RSVP there. We just tweeted out a link. We'll all share it, so make sure you RSVP to come hang out with us on Friday live in Vegas. More to do on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
If you want more action,
Woo! It's Smash Mouth football, baby!
Tom McManus.
Fridays 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors. A better way to a better window on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here for Duck Duck Rooter. The holidays are coming, and so is your family. Is your septic system ready? What about that leaky kitchen faucet? Or that toilet that's been struggling to flush? Don't let plumbing chaos steal your holiday cheer. Call Duck Duck Rooter today to fix those issues before Aunt Linda and Cousin Earl blame you for ruining Christmas. Call 904-862-6769 or visit them online at duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Injured in an accident? Have mounting medical bills? Can't work? Don't worry. Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan of Von Rowan Law. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve. Set up your free consultation at zachsgotyourback.com.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
Mia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's Risk-Free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
We're H-A-P-P-Y, H-A-P-P-Y, because happy Honda days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss happy Honda days going on now at your local Honda dealer.
There's still time to grab a mouth-watering holiday roast at Southern Steer Butcher in Ortega. Come for the roast and leave a hero with last-minute gift cards for the whole fam.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
It's the Jaguars' final home game of the 2024 regular season, and you don't want to miss it. Join us Sunday, December 29th for our fan appreciation game when the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans.
It's going to go over on down, and the Jags are going to win the ball game.
To lock in your seats for this divisional matchup, head to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there, Jags fans.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new Walk-Off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Prosser here for Lifetime Flooring. You've heard us rave about Lifetime Enclosures. Now let's talk about Lifetime Flooring. I can tell you firsthand, the product, services, best in Jacksonville. As you know, updating your floors is one of the most dramatic changes you can make to your home. Call the experts at Lifetime Flooring now and ask about their buy one room, get one room free promotion through Christmas. 0% financing, available to meet any budget. Visit their beautiful showroom just off Phillips Highway. And as always, tell them Prosser sent you.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a peacemaker. Friends, so often we can only want to help people who are in our inner circle. But God never had inner circles. The world was his inner circle, and he's depending on us to make a difference and to leave our mark in this life. So go out today receiving his peace and then sharing it with the world.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by the YMCA. The Florida Gators, who finished their regular season on a high note with 3 consecutive wins to secure a 7-5 record, will enter their 31st bowl appearance in the last 35 years and first game against the Tulane Green Wave since 1984 this Friday. Gators head coach Billy Napier spoke to the media on the focus being communication and playing clean football.
Yeah, well, we want to continue to play efficient football. Take care of the ball. We can play clean, eliminate the negative plays, stay on schedule. I think the key there is that we have good communication, we don't have any mental errors, and we're all on the same page. And then, but balance, good situational football, and then obviously keep DJ clean and then play well around. Overall, we know what winning football looks like. That's what we're going to try to do.
Gators in the Green Wave in the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa this Friday at 3:30. Hear the game live on 10 a.m. It's 75 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
We want to thank our friends at Circa for having us. And just a reminder, we just want to make sure that everybody knows you can show up at the Overhang Bar on Friday, I'm sure, and register right then an RSVP. But if you want to go ahead and do it in advance, that would be ideal.
And apparently, if you do so, you could enter to win tickets to the ball game. My boyfriend doesn't want me to say that because he doesn't want anyone else registering because he wants to win said tickets. But yes, if you register ahead of time, you will automatically be entered to win tickets to the Jaguars Raiders game on Sunday.
Very cool. So yeah, we tweeted it out. It's on Instagram. And you can certainly find it on the Circa website as well, circalasvegas.com. And just chatted with a guy who's bringing 10 people to come see us on Friday. So everybody will RSVP, and we will have an absolute blast.
Hopefully our Healigan in Montana that was corresponding with us yesterday, hopefully that Healigan heard us make that announcement, and they're able to pre-register as well.
Absolutely. And thanks again to our friends also at Jack's Beach Cookies and Cream Jack's Beach. It's just delicious cookies everyone is enjoying. All right, time now for me to make you some money.
Now, Mia's midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Now, folks, when we do my midday picks, we try to look at games that are happening during the week before we get to the weekend. If you are looking for those odds for that all-important college football playoff, those are my MyBookie pick of the week. That is available on the 1010XL social channels as well. We begin in the National Football League, as we do each and every Wednesday here on Helmets and Heels. The Los Angeles Chargers coming off of a disappointing home loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which they had 30-plus hung on them before the third quarter was over. There's your Liam Cohen stat of the day. Our 2.5-point favorites over Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Before I give my pick, Lauren Brooks, what say you? Chargers, Broncos on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one. What's the line?
2.5 in favor of the Chargers.
Okay, so I would go Broncos. I think the Broncos outright win.
See, I would go in favor of the Chargers. I've been saying it now for weeks. Not that I'm calling for the demise of Bo Nix, but at some point or another, regression to the mean will occur, and that's with all due respect to what Sean Payton's been able to do with the rookie quarterback. I also think the Chargers are going to want to respond after that disappointing loss a week ago. So give me the Chargers minus 2.5. To the college football front.
By the way, Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions, and yet they still scored 31 points because he also threw 3 touchdowns against the Colts.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I think that says more about the Colts, though, than it does the Broncos, unfortunately. Let's kick it on over to college football, where bowl games, oh, folks, it's already happening. Didn't you watch last night our friend Dawn Davenport with the Frisco Bowl? West Virginia and Memphis.
Came right down to it.
Tonight, you get James Madison, Western Kentucky. Not only because I have some family roots, but because I believe in the former stomping grounds of one Kurt Signetti. I believe his influence is still there. And even if his Hoosiers can't cover the spread against Notre Dame, like our friend Paul Grosmanis just alluded to, I do believe James Madison will cover a 7-point spread here tonight against Western Kentucky. To the hardwood we go. This is where things get interesting. We'll begin in the NBA. RJ, going to lean on you for this one. The Orlando Magic. Interesting in the scoring department. Since Paolo Banchero went down, Franz Wagner, What do you make of the offense, RJ, for the O-Town team since those 2 significant injuries?
It's certainly a lot of buddy ball that you have to play if you're the Orlando Magic. However, it does seem like you have a third number 1 option. He's currently looked at as the number 1 option. Normally, if everyone's healthy, he's the number 3 option on the team, and that's in the form of Jalen Suggs. So the offense, it seems that it can be sporadic at times, just due to the fact that you're not a great 3-point shooting team and the ball can get stuck, but you do have a guy in Jalen Suggs who is able to cover a multitude of sins if you're the Magic.
So even without those 2 star players, the Magic are still averaging 107 points per contest. Their opponent this evening, the Oklahoma City Thunder, powerhouse, averaging 115 points per game. 115 plus 107, I'll save you the math, is 122. The over-under for tonight's game between OKC and Orlando is 209.5. So give me the over. Both those teams cover even without, go over. They combine to go over 209.5, even without those 2 marquee names. Let's head to the college hardwood. We're going to go a little outside the box with our men's basketball play.
Outside the box score.
Yes, well said. Austin Peay of the A-Sun Conference will wrap up its non-conference schedule here in the next week. Plus, they face Ohio tonight. They are 13-point dogs. I personally love Austin Peay and what they've been able to build now in just the second year of Corey Gibson at the helm. Corey Gibson is perhaps most known for wearing the military uniform now on the sideline as the head coach. He did receive permission from a military member. It was part of Veterans Day awareness. because Austin Peay had a game that day against Butler, which they won. They upset a team in the Big East, and he's still sometimes wearing that outfit on the sidelines. And I don't think that should be the only storyline when it comes to Austin Peay, a ferocious team that on defense, they can get after anybody. I think they're a legitimate threat to both North Florida and JU in the ASUN Conference this upcoming conference slate. So give me the Governors to cover 13 against Ohio. On the women's side, we will have the women's game of the Jumpman Invitational up in Charlotte. North Carolina, an 11.5-point favorite over your Florida Gators, Lauren Brooks. I gave the Gator men's basketball team a lot of love. I do enjoy the bounce back that we've seen from this women's side over the last 2 to 3 years after perhaps a tumultuous stretch, we'll call it that, in the early 2020s.
Kelly Rae Finley's done a great job.
She's done a great job bouncing back. She's done a great job recruiting, keeping great talent here in the state of Florida. But ultimately, this is a UNC team that the only reason they've dropped in the rankings is because of a 82-76 loss to a Georgia Tech team that, quite frankly, needs more respect because they are undefeated so far this season. They were only the 25th ranked team in the country, and UNC only lost by 6. So that says to me, especially even if it's not on their home floor, it's in the state of North Carolina, though, I do think the UNC women bounce back in a big way, and they cover that 11.5-point spread against Florida on the women's side this evening. So to recap, that is the Los Angeles Chargers -2.5, the James Madison Dukes -7, Austin Peay +13 against Ohio, the over in OKC Orlando tonight. And the line continues to shift. It was 10.5, then 11.5, now back to 10.5. Either way, I will take the North Carolina women to cover against the Florida Gators in the women's version of the Jumpman Invitational in Charlotte tonight.
Why you got to root against my women's basketball team?
Hey, listen, I give the men's team a lot of love at the top of this program. In case you missed any of it, you can go back and listen on demand. A full opening segment of college basketball. Say, what? Yeah, we went there.
Of course we did, because Jumpman Invitational brings out the best in lots of different things. And when it comes to the Florida women's team, yeah, it's certainly tougher sledding than it was for the Florida men's team. I want to go and let everyone know some NFL news that's happening to me in case they missed it. We do have 2 new starting quarterbacks this week. Jameis Winston will be replaced by Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We kind of assumed that might happen. And then Michael Penix Jr. officially announced that he will be the starter for the Falcons. And Kirk Cousins, who's had a miserable last 5 games, will take a seat on the bench. I would expect Penix to play the rest of this season.
Yeah, I would say so. There's only 3 games left, and Kirk Cousins, perhaps the best job in America, $90 million to play 14 games. I would say and safely assume that this is the end of Kirko in the ATL, which it's still one of the more improbable storylines we've seen in all of 2024, Lauren. The fact that they would go out of their way, that an NFL team would go out of its way to pay a highly coveted free agent, even at age 35, even after coming off an Achilles tear, and pay him the money they did, and then turn around and draft a quarterback in the first round when you have multiple other holes on your roster.
And they're on the bubble. I mean, the Falcons, it could
They're one game back.
potentially make the playoffs. They play host to the Giants on Sunday. So you've got a Giants team that's obviously terrible and picking very high at the top of the draft. Does that sound familiar? So I would expect the Falcons to win that game, even though Penix hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet, or enough snaps in the NFL yet. Then the Falcons take on the Commanders on the road. That's going to be a very tough game. And then the Falcons play host to the Panthers. So they have to obviously watch what happens with the rest of the division, but there's a chance.
And the Bucs have the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints. I would say in terms of strength of schedule, at this juncture, because Washington has obviously faded from the hot start that they had to the season, I might say advantage Falcons, but who knows what they're going to look like with Michael Penix. They may look like world beaters. This may look like a rookie quarterback playing in his first ever game in a must-win situation.
Yeah, he's played in 2 games so far, Penix Jr. has. Against the Seahawks, he had 14 yards, and against the Broncos, he had 24 yards.
Yeah. So first career start, we'll call it that. I think
Right.
what's most exciting is the Carolina Panthers have the opportunity to do like some of the funniest things ever in the fact that they do play both of these teams one more time in the final 3 games of the regular season. And I think it's a Carolina team that I would buy their stock right now with the arrow firmly pointed up, not for them to win a Super Bowl or anything or some sort of miraculous turnaround next year. But Bryce Young has showed signs of development. I think that's a Panthers team that could pick off one or both of those 2 teams in divisional games.
And then there's the Browns, and nobody really talks about the Browns and what happened there because, of course, they're way out of the playoff picture, just like the Jaguars are. And look, Jameis Winston was a fun story for a little while, but I feel like I always have to say, like, you're going to eventually see the real Jameis Winston, and that is someone who throws way too many interceptions. Sometimes, yes, pick sixes as well, but he's just an inaccurate quarterback, and he's a great guy. Everybody loves to hear his sound bites, but he's not a good starting quarterback in the NFL.
So let me ask you this.
And that's not a Florida State thing. That's
right.
just
No,
watching
it's
his
just,
career.
Right. The Haslam family was very adamant at the most recent owners' meetings last week. Very adamant that Kevin Stefanski is safe. Andrew Berry, the general manager, is safe. They reiterate.
They're the ones that made the Deshaun Watson decision. The family did, not those two individuals.
Which brings me to, Lauren, what do you think happens in Cleveland?
As far as quarterback?
As far as quarterback, as far as head coach? I mean, I am willing to throw the scenario out there that if the Haslam family issues an edict that Deshaun Watson must start, Kevin Stefanski may take his ball and go play somewhere else. He's won Coach of the Year twice in the last 4 years. He's proven himself as clearly being able to scheme up Joe Flacco last year to a postseason run.
So he would resign akin to sort of Doug Marrone?
Which that was different because the Pagulas bought the Bills and it was an ownership change.
Right.
This would be unprecedented. But I also think Deshaun Watson getting a fully guaranteed contract coming off of the the allegations against him, that was uncharted territory. And I wouldn't put that past.
And you had Baker Mayfield,
who looks awesome in Tampa Town, Liam Cohen's stat of the day #2. And so that's where I'm fascinated to see what they do. I don't think Stefanski's going to resign, folks. I'm just putting that out there because I do think that situation right now is just so tenable in Cleveland. I think both the head coach and the GM are safe, but I do think that they are in the camp of what the heck are we doing at the quarterback position because this is beyond our control.
Stefanski is safe for as long as Deshaun Watson plays. He's got job security.
That's true.
So why would you leave when you know you're going to be guaranteed as long as Deshaun is guaranteed? But
that's true.
They should get another quarterback,
right? But
akin
that's
to the Falcons.
So the problem is, though, is number one, even if they pick in the top 10 of the NFL draft, in terms of cap space and cap management, they can't take a quarterback. They have to take a quarterback in the later rounds and hope that he's Brock Purdy and that he beats Deshaun Watson out for the starting job. Or Deshaun Watson's not ready, and this young man beats out whoever the backup is slated to be to Deshaun Watson, and then he ends up starting if Deshaun Watson can't go the first few weeks of the season as he recovers, and then just never relinquishes the starting job. That, honestly, is the most likely planned for success that has to be going through the minds of those decision makers in Cleveland right now.
As of now, Cleveland picks 7th.
But you can't take a quarterback because then you're going to be paying them astronomical money if they do hit. Look at, again, bring it back to the Falcons.
Right.
What sort of cap management is that?
It's not good, and that's why you're going to see teams. Eventually, we all thought that the 49ers would collapse because they mismanaged the quarterback position. But in the end, with Brock Purdy's success, everyone said, oh, well, it's a team that has fairy dust spread on it. Obviously not as good this year, but most organizations cannot whiff at that position and then still be successful and make it to the Super Bowl after that. All right, we've got more to do here on Helmets and Heels. It's going to be one of those days where I feel like we, Mia, talk about in this next segment something that's going to make me really angry. I have not briefed you on this.
Oh.
But I will tell you when we return.
I thought we were going through college prospects. Is it because we're talking draft?
No, this has nothing to do with football, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I'll tell you on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. It's not reinventing the wheel, it's making it roll down the field. Let's keep it rolling. Listen for the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game.
That's a great drive right there.
On 1010XL.
Keep going. We got to keep going, keep going, keep going.
At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interest first without exception. And all new car purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Plan. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today during Mazda's A Season to Move You event and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Hey guys, it's your boy ET here. Give yourself and your partner the gift of better love in this holiday season. Let's make it a little easier for you too. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They have chewable tablets with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. You can Blue Chew all online too. They have licensed medical professionals to help you find the right prescription and strengths. You don't even have to go to the doctor's office or the pharmacy. And when they mail it to you, it comes right to your front door in a discreet package. Nobody but you will know what's inside. And did I mention they make it right here in the good old US of A? Blue Chew has a great offer for you this holiday season. How does free sound? Go to BlueChew.com, consult with a licensed medical provider, and get your first month for free. That's right, I said it, free. Turn that holiday stress into some holiday cheer. Visit BlueChew.com.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free, with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find a pop-up tent in the Rose parking lot on Beach Boulevard near Southside, and at Night of Wonders at the Orange Park Mall. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas Medical Centers and 2 convenient Florida Blue pop-up enrollment sites combined for a winning team in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
Ho, ho, ho! When I need gifts for special people, I go to Tobacco Cove at 3849 Bay Meadows Road. They have everything you need to make Christmas as special as they are. Find the finest in limited cigars, pipes and pipe tobacco, and the accessories that make life easier like humidors, cutters, and lighters. And don't forget Lampe Bergère fragrance lamps. So, take my advice and go to Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road, and make this Christmas one they'll remember.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and heels.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. If you've ever wondered why some jewelry stores and department stores always have a sale going at 50 to 75% off, there's a good reason. Because most of the time, they're not real sales. The prices are marked up so they can sell the piece at a big discount and still make the profit they need. If you wanted to find a realistic sales event, the store wouldn't run a year-round sale and the discounts would be a little more realistic. For example, Underwoods puts all of our diamond solitaire necklaces and ear studs on sale in December at 15% below the prices we sell at the rest of the year. So there's a genuine savings to the customer. We also take trade-ins, so it's the ideal time to buy for someone looking to grow their pendant or ear studs up to a larger size. Now at Underwoods, we don't run a lot of sales. But when we do, they're real and a good time to buy. So come see us at Underwoods, San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by By now, you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this fine Wednesday afternoon. Taylor Dahl off today, but hopefully back 100% as we go live from Vegas on Friday at Stadium Swim. We hope everyone comes and hangs out with us at the Overhang Bar Friday evening from 7 to 9 Vegas time. And remember to RSVP if you want to come there and hang out with us. It takes no time at all, and you'll be in like Flynn. All right, Mia, I'm glad RJ's playing this calming music. We are going to get to some college football in a second. But I was reminded last night how much I'm still so incredibly angry about the live golf stuff. And I don't think that there's any argument that anyone could present to me to make me change my mind. And I try to be an open-minded person and listen to other people's opinions on things, or at least I'd like to think that. But this is the one topic that literally there's nothing I don't think anyone could say that would make me budge on these golfers taking live golf money and leaving the PGA Tour.
Is your issue with the inherent blood money, or is it with the idea now that they left, they said, I'm out, and now they're going to be welcomed back without repercussion?
Yeah, that makes me also very angry, but it's definitely the source of my anger is more because of the blood money stuff and because of where the money's coming from, who's funneling it to them, and what happened in our country on 9/11. And all the people who have served, all the people who died obviously that day, but also the millions probably or hundreds of thousands of people who have served our country in that time frame. And so, yeah, it triggers me. And I thought that maybe I had gotten past it. But I was reminded last night when someone brought up live golf that I'm not past it. And I'm working towards being less angry because they are just going to come back, like you said, and I'm going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, look, from a personal political standpoint, yes. And your point is absolutely well-founded. I think that ultimately, though, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think you are seeing whether that is in the game of soccer, which I know we both love, whether that is in professional fighting, MMA fighting with the UFC, whether that eventually may land within the Power Four sports, or the four big sports, I guess would be the way of calling it, that Saudi money talks in professional sports across the globe. And it's not just golf. It's happening all over. And it is tough to reckon with, given all the other reasons that you outlined and what's occurred in this country. But I don't think that this is the only time we will be having this conversation about this one specific sport.
All right, I will get off of my political high horse, I suppose. It's not really so much political. It's more just the fact that they took the money and ran, and then now they also just get to act like nothing ever happened, and people are still rooting them on and things like that. And of course, it came up because the showdown was last night. All right, so let's get into some college football draft primers. We talked to Paul Grosmanis about the couple guys at Notre Dame that certainly scouts, NFL guys will have their eyes on. Let's get it to a team that has a ton of prospects in Ohio State. Emeka Egbuka, one of the best wide receivers. He kind of gets overshadowed there because, of course, they also have Jeremiah Smith. But I feel like that's a guy that's going to make waves when he joins the NFL in 2025.
It was a surprise that he didn't actually enter the draft last year alongside his...
They all wanted to win the Natty.
Yeah, which, I mean, hey, you may end up getting your coach fired when all's said and done.
They also could, in theory, win the Natty.
Right, exactly. They still have a chance. You're not wrong there. I do think that with Egbuka, it'll be fascinating to see, especially in light of, and not to bring this back to Jacksonville, but especially in light of Marvin Harrison Jr. has had success in his first year in the NFL. I don't think it's been quite the success of another rookie wide receiver here in this town. I think you could even compare it to a second-round wide receiver in Ladd McConkey and what he's been able to do. Granted, in a Los Angeles Chargers offensive scheme that A, is predicated on the run, and B, doesn't have any other high-profile names. Sorry, Quentin Johnston. And so I think that not that Marvin Harrison Jr. not being an all-pro as a rookie should affect how Ibuka and his stock is viewed. I would put him more in the camp of a Jackson Smith and Jigba, not just because he can operate out of the slot, not that Marv can either, but also just measurables. And I think in terms of where his landing spot ultimately may be in a wide receiver class, that, not to put the cart before the horse and jump to T-Mac, but our friend out there in the desert right now, unless Travis Hunter is to say he's going to play wide receiver at the next level, appears to be wide receiver 1 in this class. And he is obviously much more of a physical, go up and get it, jump ball wide receiver with a larger frame.
Yeah, Buka is 6'1", 205 pounds. Certainly we'll find out at the Combine just exactly how fast he runs. Another group of guys from Ohio State, the 2 running backs. That, to me, is going to be fascinating to watch this, because we've seen this running back resurgence in the NFL this season. Do we see running backs actually get drafted a little bit higher than what they have been in the past couple years? And so you've got both Quinshon Judkins, the transfer from Ole Miss, and you've got Travion Henderson. It feels like he's been there for forever.
Yeah, I think that Ashton Genty, the Heisman runner-up, will go in the first round.
You do?
Okay. I do. Yeah, I do. I don't know where in the first round he's going to go, but I do believe Ashton Genty will be a first-round pick, and I do believe he's going to be the first running back off the board.
When was the last time a running back went in the first round?
Bijan Robinson. And he went.
Oh, and he went really
in
high.
the top 10.
Yeah, okay.
He went in the top 10.
In my head, I think
another questionable decision by the Falcons, as awesome as Bijan is. But then Jahmyr Gibbs went 4 picks later, if you remember, by the Detroit Lions.
And Jonathan Brooks was drafted in the first round as well.
You mean he would have been? You mean he would have been if he hadn't torn his ACL.
Yes, he would have been.
He probably would have been if he hadn't torn his ACL.
Yeah, but I think of a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire who was taken in the first round and then was just released. So either way, though, I'm fascinated to see about the running backs. And yes, for sure, Ashton Genty will be the first running back, I would assume, going not necessarily in the first round, he may, but going overall.
So Dane Brugler has released his top 50. He hasn't done his full beast, big board, anything
That'll
like
come
that.
closer to the
But
draft.
his initial top 50, Ashton Genty is the 6th ranked player in the class. Who do you think is the second running back that he has in his top 50?
Oh,
I don't know if you're going to get this one, Lauren. This one it's off the wall.
Okay, then just tell me.
Okay, at number 40, Dane Brugler of The Athletic has Omarion Hampton of North Carolina.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten him because I've looked more at the teams that are in the playoff as far as this primer is concerned. But yeah, interesting.
Those are the only running backs he has in his initial top 50, which of course will fluctuate throughout draft season. But I think that, to your point, in the top 50, there may only be 1 or 2 that end up being there and end up actually being drafted on draft weekend. But I think that 50 to 100 range, I think there's at least 5, 6, maybe even 7 running backs that could be in that day 2 range that will make it interesting if, again, much like Jahmyr Gibbs, who was a late riser, part of that was he transferred from Georgia Tech to Alabama, and a team with a niche evaluation of the position, we'll call it, with the Detroit Lions, who specifically wanted Gibbs, and they were going to do everything in their power to get him, even taking a running back 12th overall, which obviously has paid off for them. Outside of that happening, I think Genty may be the only running back we see in the first round, but I do think day 2, day 3, day 4 are going to be loaded, which comparatively to the last few years where running backs didn't go until late in day 3 in the 5th round, I think that speaks to the depth in this class.
Well, the guy that's playing for the team that takes on Ohio State, that would be Tennessee running back Dylan Sampson, I think could absolutely be in that group of running backs that you're discussing. Dylan Sampson, and obviously I watch the SEC guys a little bit closer because that's obviously the conference that I grew up watching. And of course, Florida plays in the SEC, but he's a guy that's really explosive. And if Tennessee is able to not just cover, but able to beat Ohio State, like you mentioned, Ryan Day may lose his job, but also it's going to be a heavy dose of a guy like Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, Dylan Sampson is a true junior, so it'll be curious to see, I think, with a lot of these players, not just him, Lauren, akin to Emeka Egbuka, who came back because they wanted to win it all. They wanted their shot at a 12-team playoff and the national championship. First off, I think it's extremely encouraging, despite all the transfer portal madness out there and the rest of the bowl games that have been ravaged by this. I think it is interesting that you're not going to see anybody opt out of the playoff. At least I don't anticipate that.
We've seen so far just Penn State backup quarterback opt out.
Backup quarterback.
Yeah, but he does go in certain packages.
Okay, but point being,
But yeah.
it's not like Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey once upon a time, if they had been in a 12-team playoff scenario with their respective schools, they would not have opted out. And I think that's healthy for the sport. I think it also opens up the door for a player like we alluded to, that Ohio State crew that all came back last year. Who's to say if Tennessee beats Ohio State this weekend and then they lose in heartbreaking fashion in round 2, who's to say that Dylan Sampson and a bunch of those defensive linemen that are just absolute freakazoids up there on Rocky Top don't turn around and say, I'm going to come back for another year because I want to make a run at it. Now, Sampson plays a position where traditionally that doesn't happen.
Yep. They don't want as much tread on the tires coming into the NFL.
And ditto to defensive line, because you never know if your stock is ever going to be as high as it is now. But I do think you could see, maybe at the quarterback position, wide receiver, you could see that scenario play out.
Just a reminder, the winner of Tennessee-Ohio State takes on Oregon in that second round. All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels. We'll keep that football conversation going. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Mia here for Projax Roofing. Winter is coming. If your roof took on any damage at all this year or just needs a touch-up before those cold winter months, know that Projax Roofing is here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, my friend Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. Well, we hope everyone has a great holiday. If you do need help with your roof, especially before all of those family members come, call Projax Roofing, 904-338-1722, or visit them online at projaxroofingfl.com.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
This holiday season, give the gift of comfort and joy. Comfort food and the joy that comes with digging into a huge plate of diner favorites from Metro Diner. And to make things even more merry, now through the end of the year, they're adding on a $10 bonus card with every $50 spent on gift cards. Metro Diner gift cards are the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Friends, family, or coworkers. Stop by the diner or metrodiner.com and get all your gift shopping done easily. Happy holidays from Metro Diner.
If you want to save thousands on a premium pre-owned vehicle, then you've got to get to Arlington Toyota today, because it's the final days of Inflation Fighter savings going on now. You heard that right. Only days remain to score Inflation Fighter savings at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. That means it's the final days to put just $500 down and $288 per month for a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla at Arlington. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $500 down and $388 per month puts you in the driver's seat. Take that, inflation. Plus, Arlington's lot is packed with over 600 vehicles. You even get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. If you want to fight inflation and score a new ride too, don't wait. It's the final days to get Inflation Fighter savings at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/save for details.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Here's a special message from our president.
Thanks, David. This is Jordan Harrington, president of Royal Pest Services. We'd like to thank everyone who has trusted Royal Pest for their pest control needs this year. Wishing all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Royal Pest family.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a septic tank emergency.
Don't let your holidays go down the drain. Duck Rooter's here to save your Christmas cheer. Whether it's a stubborn clog, a burst pipe, or a septic scare, we'll fix it faster than Santa can slide down a chimney. Duck Rooter. Call us now and save the day. 904-862-6769 or visit duckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, because nobody wants a silent night in the bathroom.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Kuhn Flowers floral arrangement. RJ Saunders here with 1010XL, and okay, how about sending just one person you love a floral arrangement?
Kuhn Flowers can handle it.
It's a sale so big, Santa wants to get in on it.
It's Beards Diamond's incredible 44th anniversary sale, held over until Christmas Eve. Everything store-wide is on sale, up to 44% off.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
What to get, friends, family, and loved ones this holiday? Prosper here, listen to the drill. Now through Christmas to win gifts from our holiday gift guide sponsors. Each winner eligible to win a grand prize of $1,000 in jewelry from Beards Diamonds.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here for Big Chief Tire. If you're looking for new tires, Big Chief has affordable options to fit every budget and every vehicle. Their team of experts will help you find the right tires and make sure they're installed quickly so you can get back on the road. Don't wait. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and explore their great tire deals. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite roofing contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingJacks.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson gave an injury update this morning on quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
He passed the protocol actually Sunday morning this past week, so he's cleared. He's cleared on that, and then he actually had surgery yesterday, and it was successful. So he's now on the road to recovery.
Peterson with the latest update on tight end Evan Ingram.
Evan had his on Monday. Yep, and he's good. Everything was positive in both players' cases, and just now looking forward to recovery time.
Doug Peterson this morning with the latest injury updates on Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update. I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
We know our situation. We got it. We understand that. But I think these next 3 weeks really can set us up for the future, for the offseason, for next year and how we can build and where we need to add pieces and all that kind of stuff. The development of our roster. Those are the type of players you want, right? You want those football players that love being here in this building, soaking up football, soaking up ball, love being on the grass. Those are the guys that you can build your team around.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
3-11. Nobody thought this team would be obviously as bad as they are. Certainly I did not expect that. And so, yeah, Doug Peterson, week after week, Mia has to answer those types of questions.
I don't want to ask RJ to replay the soundbite, but I do, because I want you to pay attention to when Doug Peterson mentions next year.
We know our situation. We got it. We understand that. But I think these next 3 weeks really can set us up for the future, for the offseason, for next year and how we can build and where we need to add pieces and all that kind of stuff. The development of our roster. Those are the type of players you want, right? You want those football players that love being here in this building, soaking up football, soaking up ball, love being on the grass. those are the guys that you can build your team around.
Okay, the build your team around. Brenton Strange loves to play football. Put that off to the side. That first part, when you heard that, Lauren Brooks, did that feel like to you, oh no, is he just speaking in hypotheticals, or is he saying that this is part of a build that Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, this entire current regime and staff and roster will still be around for?
It sounds like the latter, that they are planning to be here next year. But I don't know that you can
operate otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know that you can have this type of job and even think beyond the next 3 games, even really think beyond this Sunday. You are trying to win a football game. Draft order be danged, right? Like, they don't care about that. So that's how I think you have to answer it.
I'm in the same boat as you. I believe that is someone who's in the thick of it all right now and saying the right thing, which is I'm being paid to do a job, and until I'm not paid to do that job, this is how I'm going to respond, react, and approach this team as if I will be here for the long term. So I was thinking about this over the last 48 hours, and for so many of you who have wondered why have changes not been made yet, a little bit of a pop quiz, a little bit of an imagine.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
We love our friends at Closets by Design. Francis was at my house last week putting the final renderings together for my beautiful new walk-in closet. Lauren Brooks, can you tell me in-season changes made by Shad Khan during his near 13 years as the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The most recent one was Urban Meyer.
Okay, so we got Urban Meyer. Continue.
And then the one before that, I believe, was Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley, yes, at the head coaching position.
Right. And then as far as general manager, yeah, Dave Caldwell.
Yep. Okay. So let's go chronological order. Gus Bradley was bid adieu with 2 weeks remaining in the regular season, essentially told, go enjoy the Christmas holiday with your family. We know where this is going.
I was at the final meeting he had with reporters off the record. Gus Bradley. Such a fantastic human being.
Yeah, we love Gus. I would run through a wall for Gus, and I didn't even work here back then, but in one lunch with him, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I was ready to follow that man into battle anywhere, just maybe not on an NFL football field. Gus Bradley...
As a defensive coordinator, he's
great. He's great as a DC. Gus was fired with 2 weeks to go. That allowed for Doug Marrone, as an interim head coach, to go 1-1. Now, certainly, part of Doug Marrone being retained and the interim tag being taken away was because Tom Coughlin was sought after by Shad Khan to come to this franchise, whether as returning to become the head coach or eventually the role they settled on, executive vice president. Then Tom Coughlin was asked, who should we hire as the head coach? And his response to Shad Khan largely was, well, you got a pretty good head coach here already, because the Syracuse ties, his relationship with Doug Marrone. And so...
And I think that Tom had more power, leverage with Doug Marrone than he would have if he had brought a head coach in from elsewhere.
Correct. And there was also a short list of who Tom Coughlin would work with, reportedly, and Doug Marrone was already here. And
Tom was a great hire, by the way.
Great
Had it
hire.
not been for the old ways of operating, that
still would be here.
Yeah, is no longer
and obviously
allowed. Right.
It ended up, unfortunately, being for the best with everything that went on with his family. I'm not sure time constraints, if that would have been feasibly possible with what happened subsequently in the years ahead. Point being, Doug Marrone had 2 weeks to prove, to show to Shad Khan, maybe he could do the job. Dave Caldwell was bid adieu around the Thanksgiving holiday. Who took over as the interim general manager?
Trent Baalke.
Trent Baalke was then given 6 weeks to not only grow closer to the Khan family, but to show them that he could do the job. Urban Meyer was said goodbye in a blaze of a dumpster fire and a news dump at 12:51 in the morning, the second week of December 2021. But who remains, Lauren? What good soldier, what loyal
Trent
soldier
Baalke.
remained? Trent Baalke. And so Trent Baalke was then given
And
the
Darrell
last...
Bevel.
Yeah, and Darrell Bevel. Shout out to Darrell Bevel. He at least helped rejuvenate to his career down in Miami. Trent Baalke was given 4.5 weeks to validate the fact that he was the real mind, the NFL mind, the operational, professional mind of that regime, and that he should be given a second chance. I say all this to say,
people are driving off the road right now.
Shad Khan potentially waiting to make changes until the end of the season. Is that to ensure no one changes his mind? Or gives him pause to say, how could I work this, reward the loyal soldier, whoever remains, and ensure they are here as part of this transition to what is to come?
I would like to think it's the former, that he's also just going to let the dust settle. Sometimes it's best not to make emotional decisions. Not sometimes. All the time, it's probably best to not make your decisions when you're in the heat of the moment emotionally. And so he probably wanted to fire everyone after the embarrassment that was the loss to the Lions. And so he probably at that point decided, all right, if I'm not going to do it today, I'm going to wait until Black Monday, after the NFL season is over, perhaps even the very last Sunday. But that's what I think.
Two things to that. Number one, we've discussed on the program already. Even if you were to have said goodbye to Doug Peterson and or Trent Baalke after that 52-6 debacle, you wouldn't be able to interview any current NFL personnel, whether that's a general manager potential hire or a head coach potential hire, if they are employed by an NFL team until after December 31st. And so perhaps that's where, from Shad's perspective, he says, why would I fire these jokers now to get ahead in a head coaching search that, because I've been operating through back channels, as we talked about yesterday, Lauren, I already know who my 5 leading candidates are for each of those positions, but I can't talk to them until January. So why would I can both of these individuals now who have been loyal soldiers, and especially if it is to be believed that he doesn't want to pay people not to work. And ultimately, when you look at the regression of the defenses of both the New York Jets and the Chicago Bears since their head coaches were fired. Now, I don't think this team can regress any more than it already has. So I don't think that idea really is in play here.
They scored 25 points on Sunday.
That's all the Prowler throwbacks. That has nothing to do with the opponent or any. Point being, I just came away from this thought and I wondered, is part of this because A, you can't interview those potential candidates until January anyways, and B, because you don't want to leave the door open for anyone to change your mind.
Perhaps we shall see. RJ, let's cool down.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And now for something completely different. I want to give a shout out to an NBA owner. I don't know if we've ever done that as part of the cool down here on Helmets and Heels. Matt Ishbia, the former Michigan State national champion, Spartan alum, now the owner of both the Phoenix Sun and the Phoenix Mercury, announced an exciting development when it comes to the game day experience, Lauren. Here's the tweet that he issued along with a graphic that we'll get to here in just a second. Winning starts with our fans. When I walk the concourse at games, there aren't food options for families who don't want to spend a ton of money. That needs to change. Today, we are rolling out our $2 value menu for all home Suns games. You can get a hot dog for $2. You could get a 16-ounce bottle of water for $2, 16-ounce fountain soda for $2, bag of chips, bag of popcorn, all for $2. If you get a hot dog, chips, and a water for $6, that is the best value you will find in a professional sports venue in the continental United States. And that is where I say kudos to Ishbia and the crew out there in the desert, because that's what owners should be doing, trying to problem solve, come up with ways to not just put more butts in the seats. Because, RJ, you can attest to this. I mean, I don't think with that Suns roster he has to beg people to come to games, but it's understanding, hey, we see you and we meet you where you are, not just operating in the ivory tower like, not here. Shad, we love Shad. But other ownerships across the professional 4 major sports, perhaps you can't say the same thing.
I'll cool down with the fact that the next time we talk to you on air, it will be live from Las Vegas. We really appreciate our friends at Circa Resort and Casino. And again, if you're coming to hang out with us on Friday night, make sure you RSVP. We've got the link out on all of our social medias on 1010XL and our personal ones as well. So we certainly look forward to that and we appreciate them. Jags Raiders will be on Sunday, and we will be in Vegas for it. We also appreciate our friends at Cookies and Cream Jax Beach. You can find them on Instagram, Jax Beach CNC, or online cookiesandcreamjaxbeach.com. They've got all of the desserts that you want, whether it's cookies, whether it's ice cream, or whether it's your own ice cream sandwich. That'll do it for us today. For the absent Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking, and we will talk to you live from Vegas on Friday, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next.
You